This is beyond our wildest dreams. Man, dude just gave us a silver bullet. We can wipe them all out.
Billy, you cannot go along with this.
Listen, mate. No one ever said nothing about genocide.
Is that a joke?
He's insane.
Who was it that said they all gotta go? Every last one of them.
He's talking about murder, Billy, of thousands.
Think how much better the world will be.
And a lot of them are innocent, okay? I know you.
Shut your cake hole, bitch! Wakey, wakey, eggs and bacon, motherfucker.
Waking someone up with the promise of eggs and bacon, but not delivering on said promise. That might actually be worse than cutting off Samir's leg. What? I said might. I love bacon.
Pointless throwaway sin is pointless and thrown away like DEI under the Trump monarchy.
Abortion is murder!
Folks, this way. That's not part of the tour.
To be fair, a subplot like that might have made Made in Manhattan a little more interesting.
And the sin is what exactly? Oh, there isn't one? Okay.
Homelander was seen putting suits together like
an army?
Homelander has 6 superheroes in the 7. 6 people are not an army. You can have a one-man army, or you can have a regular army with hundreds or thousands of soldiers. 6 people's barely a unit. They may be effective at killing, but they aren't an army.
You're correct about the meaning of the word army, but you're still failing to consider the context of the show. Annie is referring to Homelander's group of supes as an army because of their purpose, which is to overthrow the government and establish their own oligarchy. The episode never said she used the term properly, just that she used it.
I cannot believe that this is about to come out of my mouth, but we could use butcher.
Character on season 4 of The Boys says they can't believe this is going to come out of their mouth, but we could use butcher. Cliché.
How do you still not know what the word cliché means? You've been badly criticizing movies and TV shows for well over a decade, and yet you still don't know what it means? That's just pathetic.
usually Beardy McBritish wants some dirt in exchange.
Knowing Butcher for years and only being able to come up with Beardy McBritish for a nickname. Come on, he's Billy fucking Butcher, not a municipal snowplow the city's letting residents name with an online poll.
Expecting a heroin addict to be creative. That's like expecting the TVSins writers to be smart. Or honest.
Only on The Boys would I see ice stemming from a statue and immediately think of semen. And I'm honestly not sure how I feel about that right now.
So the sin is that you made a random assumption without any good reason? That's dumb.
Can't wait to see you inherit the 7 one of these days.
Do you think there will actually be 7 members when that day arrives? That feels like the more important question that needs answering here.
Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
Copy. In Webweaver's voice, motherfucker.
Copy, dog.
Huey sounds exactly like Huey, but just adds dog to the end of what he said, and MM thinks this will work. And it actually does for a lot longer than it should.
I mean, the difference between Huey's voice and Webweaver's voice isn't astronomical, and nobody is going to be expecting this kind of deception, so it's not that much of a stretch for this to work for a while.
Oh, the 7 are here.
And Homelander doesn't hear Huey say that because the show still has zero clue how to handle Homelander's ability to hear fucking everything.
And this sin right here demonstrates that you're still too stupid to understand how hearing works. I've explained this multiple times, so I'll keep it brief. Homelander has extra sensitive hearing, but he still needs to focus on a sound for his brain to process it, and right now Homelander is having a conversation with someone, meaning that he's focused on that person rather than on Huey. It's really simple, and it blows my mind that a grown man is too dumb to understand it.
Got the original Beatrice Stowe, Uncle Tom's Cabin.
You do not. The story was originally published as a serial in a newspaper. So what you have there, at best, is a first edition of the 1852 publication. Except that you don't even have that because the first edition publication was released in 2 volumes.
This is actually a well-researched sin. If you could put in the amount of thinking for the rest of the video as you did research for this sin, then your channel might actually be decent. Unfortunately, sins like this are very few and far between.
You know what's funny? I hate sacking.
Is there a punchline coming? Because that's not very funny.
Hypocrisy is hypocritical.
You ever meet a black ninja?
I feel like the more important question is, have you ever met any ninjas? Because if you have met a ninja, I need that story ASAP.
Pointless throwaway sin is pointless and thrown away like trans athletes from women's sports under the Trump oligarchy.
Alright, split up.
Did you learn nothing from Fred Jones? Did anything good ever happen in Scooby-Doo when they split up?
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
Actually, we know if the rape is legitimate, the woman's body has a way to reject that pregnancy.
Forcing me to confront the reality that this was an actual sentence spoken by a real politician.
Considering the fact that you work for a man who thought Emma Watson was hot when she was 10 years old, hypocrisy is hypocritical. Also, complaining about being faced with this reality is pretty much just denying that real people actually think this is true, and these people need to be educated on this topic, not ignored. When you ignore stuff like this, it just lets the problem fester.
I stayed up the next 3 nights, discovered a cure, presented my research to those satisfied fat crackers. They patted me on the head, said I was adorable, and laughed at me.
The doctors listened to you talk intelligently about curing a horrible disease and then simply laughed at you? Even if they weren't interested in helping your grandmother, I have my doubts their greed or selfishness wouldn't kick in. They didn't want to sell it to a pharmaceutical company?
You're acting as if the doctors accepted her research when it's pretty obvious that they simply didn't bother to verify it because they thought it would be a waste of time. In other words, they didn't even give her a chance.
What's your favorite? German chocolate. For the texture against the bare cheeks, right?
The Boys is going to ruin German chocolate cake for me, isn't it? Why The Boys? Why would you do that?
We're just getting started.
What are you going to ruin next? Ice cream? Cheese? For the love of God, find something else to ruin besides dairy.
Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
I'm gonna sit my swollen on your stupid masked face and piss like a skunk. And I just had asparagus.
You might want to check into why.
Skip.
Why does no one in the Boys universe have any kind of security? It's weird enough Annie and whomever can just wander in and out of Vought like it's a personal playground, and now you're also telling me that billionaire Tech Knight has no cameras or any kind of security measures around his mansion?
This sin doesn't carry any weight when you remember that this show is satirical. Funny how TVSins forgets this whenever they need a sin to give.
I am so sorry.
Undercutting your authentic apology by jabbing someone in the neck with a needle.
Undercutting your entertainment value by pointing things out on the screen.
You tap my undies, they'll shatter like peanut brittle, man.
I would like to think after almost 4 seasons that there would not be a line of dialogue spoken that could still shock me, but here we f***ing are. I'm not sure what foods I'm still going to be comfortable eating by the time this series is wrapped up.
Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
Everybody always has the same holes. Sometimes you just gotta make your own. And then f*** them.
David Cronenberg giving direction on the set of Crash somehow makes it into the episode.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
Huey said orchids, right?
Yep. Good for Huey that Tech Knight decided to decorate his staircase with multiple pictures of the same f***ing thing, so Huey could give everyone an easy clue to follow.
I mean, Tech Knight is an eccentric billionaire, so if it wasn't orchids, then it would be something else.
Kimiko is conveniently able to find books with convenient titles she can use to conveniently communicate with convenient A-Train.
It's funny how he says that everything in this scene is convenient when he shows Kimiko covering certain words on certain books, which clearly indicates that it's not convenient.
Also, it's super convenient for Kimiko that Tech has the US printing of Agatha Christie's Easy to Kill instead of the original UK printing titled Murder is Easy. And based on Tech bragging about having the first edition of Uncle Tom's Cabin earlier, I'm not buying into this bullshit convenience.
Let me get this straight. You think the America First nutjob Tech Knight would have a British version of a novel instead of the American version? Give me a break.
Get the door.
So, to be clear, when A-Train called MM earlier, he had to run to Toronto so Homelander didn't hear him. But now that they're in the same house, Homelander can't hear a silenced gunshot, Kimiko throwing books on the hard floor, or A-Train talking and using his powers.
This is a rare example of Discount Jeremy actually being correct about superhearing. A silenced gunshot and books hitting the floor should definitely have been heard.
What the hell just happened?
Oh, come on, Kimiko. I have faith you could dig up a book titled MM Fainted, and so A-Train had to take him to the hospital.
Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
Leave the boogeyman for the idiots watching VNN.
Conflating wealth with intelligence. Rich people are just as susceptible to boogeyman as less rich people.
And where did the episode suggest that all rich people are intelligent? The answer is that it didn't, and Discount Jeremy is making shit up. This one example of a rich person seeing through the bullshit does not equate to every single rich person seeing through the bullshit.
Bottom line, you support me, and that is what you'll f***ing get.
Newman has not answered any of the questions about how they'll actually handle any government agency that resists Homelander's agenda. But all of these idiots will still be eating out of her hand once she's finished with her speech.
So, wait just a minute. Didn't you just say that the episode is conflating rich people with intelligence, but now you say that the rich people in this room are idiots? Dude, how can you contradict yourself within seconds and then leave the contradiction in the video?
Ma'am, I'm sorry, but I just don't think your inmate wants to see you.
Much like I've not needed to see this same sequence of events twice in one episode.
And now you're failing to understand how this repetition shows the way Frenchie is making amends and how Kimiko isn't giving up on him. In other words, Discount Jeremy doesn't understand characterization.
Sure, why not? Find a new way for a woman to temporarily domesticate Homelander. How many ways can this dude get Samsoned before he learns his lesson?
He'll probably never learn his lesson. As Stan Edgar pointed out last episode, he's a Freudian cesspool. This is par for the course.
That's my good little boy.
So that whole episode of Homelander going back to the lab and detaching from his humanity to finally erase all weaknesses was entirely bullshit fun. What a quick way to waste an episode. Why don't Homelander's mirror multiple personalities ever yell at him about his milk addiction?
Jesus Christ. How is it possible for someone who watches TV for a living to not understand basic storytelling concepts? Homelander going back to the lab was his way of detaching from his humanity, and he successfully detached from his childhood, but that doesn't automatically erase his entire psyche. I mean, we see the effect that returning to the lab has on him this season. Instead of operating under Vought and caring what people think of him, he literally overthrows the US government. The TVSins writers are completely incapable of understanding any shred of nuance.
To make the virus strong enough to kill Homelander would evolve into something unstable.
And for some reason, Samir chose to hold this information until the end of the episode, even though he knew that's exactly what Butcher wanted him to do from the beginning.
Hold on a minute, I'm not going to let you get away with this lie. Samir knew that Butcher wanted to replicate the virus, but he didn't know that Butcher wanted it to be strong enough to kill Homelander. The TVSins writers insult the intelligence of their audience in every single video.
The real Joe Kessler? He's dead in the Panchir Valley, motherfucker. You never dragged me out. You left me to die.
Story is scraping the bottom of the creative barrel with this surprise, you've been talking to yourself all along, in addition to the talking to yourself that you knew you were doing cliche.
Not only is this not a cliche, but you also didn't even bother to back up why you think this is a bad thing. This sin boils down to, this is bad because I said so. Trust me, bro.
I killed Ezekiel for you.
Yeah, but you pulled a Moon Knight to make it happen. So, here's a sin for reminding me about that.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture.
We know safe paths for hobbitses. Safe paths in the dark. Shut up!
I didn't say anything.
I wasn't talking to you.